Engage patience, please, and watch the entire video. It's going to be a long video, but this is necessary to understand what's going on in Bangladesh, South Asia, and eventually where the world is heading to.
It's a wrong criticism because we have not banned Awami League.
I mean, you suspended their registration.
No, not the registration. Simply activities has been suspended.
What does that mean?
Meaning that they cannot do any political activity.
So then you have basically, I mean, they can't run for office.
No, the party is still there.
Can they run for office?
Not now, but the activities are banned. Simply activities has been suspended. Suspended.
Okay, so how is that not what
So
Amity said is warning against?
they remain valid as a party.
Okay.
So, but activities for the time being is suspended. Anytime it could be open.
You mean you could unsuspend that?
Unsuspended. That's a possibility.
So you haven't banned the party. You've just said for now you can't participate in elections.
That's right.
But how is that democratic to ban a group of people from participating in elections?
Well, that's on the election commission has decided, seeing the possibilities and the characteristics of the party that will disrupt the whole election. So they thought it's better not to.
But you wouldn't deny that they have millions of supporters in Bangladesh.
I wouldn't say millions. They have supporters, but I don't know how many are left. Because supporters is something, you're so powerful.
Yeah.
I'm always bowing to you because you're powerful. I'm not a supporter.
But you're not denying this. They do have a constituency in Bangladesh. They don't have no support.
Definitely, it's a long time.
But now those people have no voice. You've banned their party. I mean, you've prevented their party from taking part in politics.
They can vote for, as voters, they're valid voters. There are a lot of contestants. They will choose their own.
But is it helpful? I'm just wondering.
Awami League level will not be there. Choose their own will not be there. Choose their own.
But is that helpful to Bangladesh to have this situation where people are saying,
otherwise,
well, the new government is cracking down on the old government, the cycle continues?
Otherwise, we cannot hold the election.
Okay.
A party at all, as a political party, is not behaving as a political party. They have not expressed their remorse that they have killed people. They have not taken responsibility of anything that they have done during this period. For the time being, the activities of Awami League will be suspended for the time being. That's all we have done. We have not banned Awami League. We have not done anything.
Dr. Yunus, the head of the present so-called interim government of Bangladesh, has been going around the world glorifying his time and glorifying the toppling of Sheikh Hasina's regime in a meticulous uprising in 2024, July and August, rebellion by the students. The question is whether that time yielded the result many of us wanted to see. The present regime has become rather an autocratic and also, in some sense, a dictatorial rule, where we are seeing a rise of Islamist fanaticism and Islamist fascism. He is going around the world and he recently addressed the United Nations General Assembly along with some political leaders from Bangladesh, violating the United Nations General Assembly's procedural rule number 25, where those political leaders, not being part of the delegation from Bangladesh, sat at Bangladesh bench during the General Assembly session. Dr. Yunus is very serious and curious to dig out as much, dirt as possible against Sheikh Hasina. I would rather say it has become a personal vendetta for him, a window to express his vengeance against Sheikh Hasina. Because during Sheikh Hasina's regime, they were not really bad partners. Sheikh Hasina somehow was always a skeptic about Dr. Yunus's moves. And one of the reasons Sheikh Hasina was against Dr. Yunus was his interest policy regarding the Grameen Bank. And it's needless to say, Grameen Bank was initially established with the support of Bangladesh government, especially with some of the friends of Sheikh Hasina. Eventually, Dr. Yunus was rubbing shoulders with the Western powers, and many believe Sheikh Hasina was toppled by a deep state movement where CIA was active. Now it is for you to investigate. I spoke to the retired Inspector General of Police of Bangladesh, Benazir Ahmed, of whom I'm not very fan of because he was a corrupt man. But still, Benazir told me that there were many in the present regime, Dr. Yunus's government, who were part of the deep state. And he said some names, and one of them was recently arrested in Bangladesh. Surprisingly, the CIA issue or connection, the arrested guy's connections, one Mr. Chaudhry, with the American deep state, his American citizenship, those things are not coming up in the media. The question is whether Indian secret services gave a tip-off to Bangladesh secret services to have this man arrested. So since then, many of the people whom we suspect to have deep state connections have keep on giving these things rather less attention, and they've become silent. Their silence is deafening, like the leaders of AB party, the leaders of NCP, who were until recently very vocal against Awami League's any kind of move to come back to politics. Dr. Yunus recently gave several interviews in international platforms, and he repeatedly said Awami League was not banned. They were suspended, their activities were suspended. They might be allowed to come back to political arena anytime soon or anytime in the near future. They were not banned from participating in the elections, etc. But Dr. Yunus also emphasized that Awami League was not remorseful about the deaths of many students and how they behaved for almost 1.5 decades, etc. But again, during an interview with Mehdi Hassan, he self-contradicted himself on a few occasions. He said Awami League was banned. Then again, he said Awami League was not banned. Their activities were banned. They were suspended, but they are not, behaving like a political party. They were not remorseful. The Election Commission is going to take a decision about that, etc. And again, he said they will not be coming back to participate in elections under Awami League banner. So basically, he's trying to say that Awami League can come back to power to play, politics anytime in that sense. And again, he's denying the power to enter into politics to Awami League and saying that Awami League cannot take, part in elections. When Mehdi Hassan said that there were millions of supporters for Awami League, which Dr. Yunus questioned. Surprisingly, he didn't say that what made him believe that Awami League didn't have millions of supporters, regardless of the fact that Awami League is a political party which has been playing politics for decades, and the party who were behind the very founding of Bangladesh. A political party like Awami League, who were the main power, the generator for independence movements of Bangladesh, founded Bangladesh on basic four principles. Secularism, number one. So are you against it, my dear viewer? Are you against secularism? For a country where there are many religions and many people of different views. So secularism, and then was socialism, then was democracy, and then we had Bengali nationalism. Those are the founding principles of Bangladesh as per Awami League's history since the partition of the subcontinent, even during the time of East Pakistan regime, which paved way for Bangladesh. And during the Liberation War, Jamaat-e-Islami carried out atrocities in conjunction with the Pakistani army during 1971 Liberation War. They formed the Al-Badr and other paramilitary forces, who eventually surrendered to Bangladesh and Indian joint forces, allied forces, on 16th of December 1971.
Could you have recognized your brother over there?
Yes, I could recognize my brother, Professor Abul Kalam Azad. He's professor of mathematics.
When did he disappear?
He was picked up from his house on 15th December by a half a dozen Al-Badr paramilitary force under the army command.
Why should they have killed so many of these people?
So far, we gathered during the last phase of the present armed struggle. They prepared a list of the intellectuals, journalists, professors, and teachers, and they picked up at least 250 intellectuals, journalists, and professors during the last 15 days between 1st of December to 15th of December.
What was the point of killing so many people, so many of the intellectuals?
I think that they thought that they are the sworn enemy because these people were the intellectuals and brain of the Bengal.
And without them, the new nation would have a difficulty.
I think that would be a very correct answer, because if these intellectuals are eliminated, there will be a total bankruptcy, intellectual bankruptcy.
So the question comes, has Jamaat-e-Islami asked for forgiveness to Bangladeshi people? Has Jamaat-e-Islami forsaken their militarism or their militancy? Has Jamaat-e-Islam become a secular party when its name is Jamaat-e-Islami? Well, we all know, no, they didn't. They were not even remorseful. Rather, to belittle Awami League's contribution in 1971, they are not questioning whether millions of people were killed, whether hundreds and thousands of women were raped, where there were Hindu genocides, at the helm of which Jamaat-e-Islami played a key role. They were all denying this so that they can kill two birds in one stone. Awami League had no contribution, and more or less there was no genocide. Hindus were not the victims of genocide. Many secularist intellectual thinkers were not killed. Rather, India killed them, and have set all kinds of stories. And they have, set two. One runaway criminal wanted in Bangladesh for killing babies with contaminated medicine, Pinaki Bhattacharya. And the other guy is in the US, Ilyas, along with their cohorts, to spread lies, to blackmail opposition political parties, including the activists of BNP as well. and the activists of Awami League so that they cannot open their mouth. Many free-thinking journalists, secularists, Awami League's pro-Awami League supporters have been imprisoned. Many intellectuals have been arrested, harassed, and mob justices were carried out against any sort of Awami League activists, regardless of their allegations against them. Even if they were like saint-like innocent people, hundreds and thousands of Awami League activists have been killed. Many have been banished from Bangladesh. Well, we all agree there were criminals in Awami League. There were failures in Awami League. There were people who wanted to destroy Awami League's image because they were in corruption. Awami League had failed immensely in many occasions to uphold democracy. And I was one of them who voiced against Awami League's regime. And I wanted to see Awami League gone because I am, by my principles, I'm in support of BNP. But I also believe in multi-party system. I believe in democracy. I believe everybody should have a right to do politics. Every political party should have a right to do politics, unless they are terrorist parties. Jamaat-e-Islam, if there's one party to pick who has terrorist connections, who were classified as terrorist parties, whose student wings, Islamic Chhatra Shibir, was designated as a top-notch terrorist group by many international organizations. If they can still do politics, when their founder, Maududi, was praised by Baghdadi of Islamic State, a few years back, then why should we not allow Awami League to do politics when Awami League stands for those principles? Their leaders had failures, and they should be remorseful. That's I agree. But on the excuse of their leaders' failures, why should we suspend Awami League activities? This Jamaat-e-Islami have been trying to brush up their image by opening up a wing for Hindus to enter their party. Like BJP has a Muslim Munch wing. When BJP, carried out the worst political steps against Muslims in India, because I'm rather someone who supports Congress to take power in India. If you remember, Gujarat riots where thousands of Hindus and Muslims were killed and atrocities were carried out mainly against Muslims. But still, before elections, Muslims voted for Hindu fanatic group, Hindutvadi BJP, because they were scared of not voting for BJP. The same is happening in Bangladesh. It's absolutely absurd to think that Hindus can support Jamaat-e-Islami. We've taken their record, their past since 1971 and all that, even during 1964 riots and all that. So, Dr. Yunus has been deceiving, and his right-hand people like his, press secretary Shafiq and others in his regime are totally denying that Dr. Yunus said Awami League could come back any moment. And also, his law advisor, Dr. Asif Nazrul, said that there was no chance of Awami League coming back to politics anytime soon. You see the contradiction here. So Asif Nazrul even came up with laws so that there can be no investigation on the deaths of hundreds of police officers in Bangladesh, hundreds of missing officers, how they were killed. Because I believe there were corrupt police officers. I believe there were excessive force used at times. But when the adversary are hiding behind different political ideologies when their actual political ideology were Islamic Chhatra Shibir, as I said, one of the terrorist student wings of Jamaat Islami, internationally designated by many organizations. And when organizations like Hizb ut-Tahrir, who are banned in most of the Western countries and many of the Arab countries, were involved in these movements. And they acted like jihadis. And how come there's no government steps to investigate the deads, their political connections, and those who are injured, their political connections? There has been no step by the present Dr. Yunus regime. Why? Because the truth will come out. We are now seeing the reign of a fascist Islamist regime where Dr. Yunus is set there as a so-called secular Western friend who is in fact supporting all this because his Grameen has taken many advantages and rewards by using the government authority so that Grameen could flourish more, their taxes could be exempted, millions of dollars of taxes. He could have authority to rule, as whatever way he wanted, so that he could set Jamaat Islam in different institutions and gain for Grameen, which is his brainchild in return. So we need to take all this into account. And how can he deny there are not, they don't have millions of supporters, Awami League, when by principle, Jamaat Islam is a terrorist or group. Their constitution is calling for rule of Allah, which is in fact they are not trying to accept it openly, but they are in close connection with organizations who want caliphate to be established in the world, because they are Maududis, their godfather believed in that, and also because of the fact that Awami League has been a political party for many years. Many of their activists accept there were mistakes done, but there are still supporters there, millions. Even I, not being, as I said, an Awami League supporter, mainly because of the failures of the leaders, but I will not call for banning Awami League, because banning Awami League is like denying the existence of Bangladesh, because Awami League set the ball rolling for secularism in Bangladesh. And there were, as I said, many engineers behind the independence of Bangladesh. If you can deny independence of Bangladesh, deny the atrocities in 1971, you step one bit forward for establishing caliphate in that part of the world. And if Jamaat Islam is there, probably there are powers outside Bangladesh who can use this poodle, this Islamist fanatic poodle, to carry out their international political agenda against other international powers or big boys. Thank you.